The following video contains spoilers for High Guardian Spice. The long-awaited release of Crunchyroll's High Guardian Spice is finally here, and in a shocking turn of events, the fake anime series everyone was expecting to hate is getting picked apart by critics and practically guaranteed to never get a continuation. There are a lot of theories as to why. Some will point to the shady activities of Crunchyroll, funding their own animation studio instead of fixing up their site, or supporting the anime industry. Others will point to the worst marketing campaign since Go Ponies, bizarre animation mistakes, bad audio, or a script with all the subtlety of a shrieking howler monkey. And much like the fable of the blind men and the elephant, they're all right, and part of a bigger picture at the same time. That particular picture, however, is not very complicated. High Guardian Spice isn't very good. So, rather than give you an overview of all of the leaking holes in the sinking ship HGS, I'm going to look at how it pretty spectacularly misuses one of my favorite tropes, the extra-normal university. I used the trope in the writing for my game Sorceress, and found it to be a great storytelling device. It makes exploring the details of a fantastical setting very easy, while at the same time emphasizing said details by grounding them in the familiar setting of a school environment. Not to mention, it accommodates the high volume of exposition required by most science fiction and fantasy stories. Finally, it tends to be a good setting for plot hooks. After all, magical mysteries make sense at a place like Hogwarts. It stands to reason that in a world where monster fighting is a much in-demand profession, Beacon Academy would attract the attention of powerful and dangerous people. And being the only school in the US to offer degrees in advanced tentacle studies, Miskatonic University is frequently called on for its occult knowledge. And with all of these benefits, High Guardian Academy still manages to not do anything particularly interesting. So, in the grand tradition of school rivalries, I've rounded up 6 other magical school trope factories for a versus gauntlet. Round 1. Bringing your characters together. In a way, this is a battle of equals, as High Guardian Academy is facing off against fellow American anime knockoff RWBY's Beacon Academy. The formation of High Guardian Spice and RWBY follows surprisingly similar beats. An initial duo is later joined by 2 new members, one of which is a hard tsundere. The big difference is, RWBY has the friendship between the leads, forged in battle with a giant monster bird and scorpion, whereas High Guardian Spice just comes together because the girls have compatible personalities. The second one is definitely more realistic, but the first one makes a better story. There's probably some kind of middle ground, but all in all, I think the slower, more natural formation, later tested by challenges, works well enough for HGS. I award it 1 point. Also, like RWBY, it takes HGS a full season to get the emotionally complex cat girl to open up to the group. Round 2. Leaving home. Particularly for younger characters, the whole boarding school thing is a big deal. First time away from home, it's a whole new world. And on that blatant Disneyism, let me introduce the challenger. Straight from the Island of the Lost, it's The Descendants. For the villain kids, going from the grimy streets of Mickey's finest open-air prison to the squeaky sanitized world of Disney royalty is a hell of a change. But so is going from the small town of Pebble to the magical metropolis of Lingard. The difference is, the VKs bring more from the world they came from. Style, attitude, personal baggage, perceptions, and a very bad reputation. That makes adjustment a real challenge for them. Whereas, Rosemary takes to life in the big city almost instantaneously. Now, to HGS's credit, Sage has some hang-ups about how magic is done with these newfangled magical devices called Terraspheres. And we spend a lot of time dealing with how she comes to terms with and reconciles old and new magic. Maybe a bit too much, but mileage may vary. I give HGS half a point. Round 3. Exploring the subject matter. As I said, being able to explore a fantastical world in a grounded setting is a major strength of the school locale. And in this round, HGS is taking on a series that likes exploring the exact workings of its world almost as much as it likes believing in things. Naruto. I know stopping in the middle of a fight to explain the crazy ninja bull that just happened is a bit of a meme, but damn it, Naruto is good at making you want that explanation. Now, classes in the Hidden Leaf Village are fairly non-traditional, but there's always a seasoned ninja teacher to explain to inexperienced genin the wonders of chakra, jutsu, kekai genkai, and other aspects of the ninja world. Whereas at High Guardian Academy, most of the classes are, well, not that great. Smithing and ethics are topics you can take in real life. And Snape's withered grandma doesn't so much teach her students as periodically try to murder them, with only very little explanation behind what's actually happening. Seriously, you can't do the wax on, wax off thing and then not pay it off with some kind of lesson. The only decent teacher is Professor Caraway, and even his lessons tend to be more life lessons. Sorry, HGS, you get a 0 on Rate My Professor. Round 4. Socializing. This is, without a doubt, HGS's favorite use of the school setting. So I think the most fitting opponent also eats, breathes, and takes dirt naps in the interpersonal aspect of school. Monster High. Now, if all you know about High Guardian Spice is the promotional stuff put out by Crunchyroll, you might assume there are 4 leads. Well, there's not. There are 6. Rosemary, Sage, Parsley, and Thyme are joined by Snapdragon and the best character on the show, Amaryllis. We delve deep into the lives and tribulations of this little band of students, with only a few of the supporting characters getting a word in edgewise. Mostly this cherubic person, and that stoner kid with the voice everyone hates. But that's about it. On the other hand, Monster High takes a different approach. The polar opposite approach, in fact. This operation is about selling dolls and nothing else, so you can get ready for a non-stop conga line of increasingly vague monsters. Most sporting one and only one personality trait. But that's compensated for with elaborate theming that really gets across who they are and what they're all about. There are also plenty of parties, clubs, and after-school activities that are frankly more fun than sitting around the High Guardian Academy dorms listening to people cry. HGS takes an L. Round 5. An adventure school wouldn't be much without, adventure! In this round, the Guardians are going up against the bad boys from the Old Republic, namely, the Sith Academy. One of the absolute high points of the BioWare classic, Knights of the Old Republic, was the world of Korriban and your undercover exploits as a Sith apprentice. The school pits you against ambitious students, manipulative teachers, and the ancient evils lurking in the academy. As a jumping-off point for adventure in a galaxy far, far away, it's fantastic. And it makes sense that any school started by someone with Darth as a title wouldn't be too concerned about health and safety standards. Unfortunately, I can say the same about the faculty at High Guardian Academy. I feel like the missions the students are sent on are some kind of training exercise. But they still seem awfully life-threatening. We have 2 examples of school-sponsored missions. One is a trip to an underground cave system to recover healing water. The other is an investigation into a dangerous sea dragon. At least with that one, there's a sort of qualifying round beforehand to select the best guardians. I never got the feeling that missions are all that common. If that's what they were going for, another D&D trope like a bounty board somewhere at the school, or some cool upperclassmen always going on missions, would have gotten the point across. I'm awarding HGS a half a point for at least trying to use the adventure potential of the school. Round 6. A school is a great place to develop your setting and let your audience learn about the world along with the characters. This was used to great effect in the game Bloodborne, with the sinister Bergenworth School. Now, the hunter isn't a student of Bergenworth, but by reading cryptic notes, item descriptions, and interacting with the numerous unreliable narrators in the game, The hunter learns, through Bergenworth, the real truth behind the beasts of Yharnam. Meanwhile, at High Guardian Academy, the school does indeed introduce basic concepts like new magic and what guardians do. But that's about it. Very little time is spent on the warrior kids, something that might have been important since Rosemary, the viewpoint character, is a warrior. Likewise, Parsley having focused on forging at the school implies that guardians aren't just protectors, but builders as well. Magic might be sparkly and fun, but if you have martial characters, you need to give them something to do. HGS gets a goose egg. Out of a potential 6 points, High Guardian Spice scored a 2. They at least got the team together, there were growing pains from Sage, and we get a couple of adventures out of the concept. Opportunities were missed to develop the world of HGS, explore its mechanics, and expose its characters to a social life beyond their small clique. And that's unfortunate. Tropey as it's become, the magical school setting has a lot of potential. And based on its reception by audiences, saying a Season 2 of HGS is unlikely is an understatement. Efficiency in writing is incredibly important, especially for syndicated series. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the exception, not the rule. No show is guaranteed the time it needs to tell its story, the exact way it wants to tell it. That's why you need to take advantage of every opportunity. And that's the real lesson to learn at High Guardian Academy. Oh, and PNGs. Not even once. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my work outside of YouTube, check out Sorceress, a dark fantasy mystery RPG, available right now on Steam. Follow the link in the description to watch the trailer. And if you'd like to watch more content from me, check out my channel right here on YouTube.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.